What is going on? Long time no see in this format. It is Sean Don coming back with a technical analysis. Here we have Luigi Gonzalez. So, just get right into it. Let's take a look. Okay, not too shabby. One more time. Nice and easy. Pretty connected. Okay, you can see the left side going a little bit in later turns, but yeah, let's keep it going. Okay, so break it down frame by frame. Okay, so lines keeping the hands up nice and long and out, nice and balanced, 50-50 looking. A little extension to the low back, not a big deal. I'm typically not a fan of this. Like you can see how far you are over on this right side. I guess I should say you can see how far your left foot is from the rest of your body, and you're kind of up on the toe. And then you can see your left foot is already turned ahead, pointing kind of towards like what would be 15 or 30 degrees ish past zero. Um, Typically not a fan of that. I like to keep my weight a little bit more over that left side. I think it's better. It sets up a lot of things better if you have just a little bit more weight on that left side, or at least if you, like I said, balanced 50-50 between the two. Um, as you can see, you're shifting back over, so you're getting there. It's not too shabby, okay? But yeah, you can see with that left foot pre-turn just a little bit, you can see that you have the tendency to lead just a hair with this left foot. It's not a lot, but what you do in the entry kind of gets magnified as you go through the throw. So, like I said, there's a little bit of left side pulling back in later turns. If you can let the ball pass a little bit more or get this left and right side, your entire lower body turning with the ball as it goes through an entry, it'll be a little bit better. Right here is probably the most exaggerated. You can see this right foot pointing towards what would be like, I don't know, you could say just before zero. I'd call it like maybe like a 12:30-ish if you were using the whole clock analogy thing. So this right leg's being left behind while this left foot kind of turns ahead of the ball. You're kind of splitting your legs with the ball, and both your right foot and your left foot need to be turning kind of in the same direction of where the ball is. Um, but you're doing a decent job of, like I said, keeping the hands up, nice and relaxed. Pretty square here, but like I said, you can just see the difference between your feet, kind of a pigeon-toed, if you will. As the ball goes left, yeah, the right hip, it's not terrible. Um, Not a big fan of seeing this left or right hip kind of shift back away from the ball as it goes left. And you really don't do it too much, but it also doesn't really, it's not really going with the ball either. It's just kind of here. It's along for the ride. You're turning with the ball. You're turning at the mercy of the ball. And then it's like right about here, you start to actually kind of drive that right hip towards the ball. So what I would recommend is as the ball goes left. So once again, the big thing is get your lower body, left leg, right leg, hips turning with the ball, and then also get this right hip to kind of chase the ball a little bit more. You want to use this right hip to propel the ball out and forward to the sector. But you can't really do that if it's back. And yeah, so just get that right hip into the throw a little bit more. And then letting the ball go long, nice and relaxed. Relaxed shoulders, good. Single support movement's decent. Knees are nice and tight. And you can see you kind of step around a little bit. I'd say try to, once again, use that right hip to drive the ball forward, and then also use that right hip to drive and step forward towards the ball. So like right around here, think about stepping towards 180 a little bit, and the ball will naturally take you around rather than you needing to step around to catch the ball. It's just a little bit quicker. You come down on the heel, totally fine. Posture looks decent. Your right hip, once again, so this is like I said before, if your right hip is a little bit out in the entry, it's going to be a little bit out on this first catch. And if this right hip is a little bit out on this first catch, the only way to, well, I guess the way to efficiently work the ball, so scratch everything I just said, the way to efficiently work the hammer, in my opinion, your right hip needs to be kind of underneath you. So what happens is you can see that left side pulls a little bit until that right hip finally comes underneath you. And it's just very late. So if you catch with that right hip underneath you a little bit more, you'd be a little bit more powerful, a little bit more efficient. You'd be able to get to work sooner. The heel catch is totally cool. I play around with it every now and then, but it just never seems to stick. It's just my natural instinct to go on the toe, so do whatever is comfortable for you. The heel catch is totally cool. Helps people be patient. But then the problem is, it's not bad. Once that left heel comes down, you can see that right foot start to work with the ball. But then you can see, as the ball goes left in this, after this first catch, decent stuff right here. Pretty aligned, pretty balanced. Right foot, like I said, is turning, but then you see this left leg start to straighten out and this left hip start to shift back. Not the best position because, once again, that left hip shifting back, the ball needs to kind of go around that left side. And if it shifts back too early, then it kind of just, it's not very efficient. So, what I would recommend is, on this catch, alright, you land with the heel, which means you're going to be nice and stable. But like I said, you got to get that right hip underneath you and try to think about even getting this left hip back over this, behind this left hip. Left shoulder behind left hip. So you want to be a little bit more upright over this left side, catching over your heel. That way, when the ball comes through zero, you're much more aligned over that left side. As you can see, you're already starting to shift back a little bit as the ball goes through zero. So use that right leg to hold this left side a little bit more. Use this right leg to pressure your body and keep you aligned over this left side. As the ball goes left, like I said, that left side shifts back. Keep that left leg bent, try to keep that left hip where it is, and then send the ball around it instead of pulling back. You're kind of pulling your left side out of the way to get your right side through. A slight lift in the arms, just relax, let the orbit do its own thing, let the hammer do its own thing. And then same thing, always try to step forward towards the hammer. Coming down, less on the heel, more on the, kind of just looks like flat-footed ball of the foot maybe. Hips are a little bit better. Right hip is almost more underneath you, but it could be like a 6 inches more forwards. I think posterior pelvic tilt, if you know what that is, Google it. Get that right hip underneath you on that catch. It'll be much easier to get to work right away. But yeah, so the problem is with this left side pulling out of the way, you can see the ball doesn't go, and this angle is not the best because it's just a portrait, not landscape, so you can't see where the ball goes as it goes left. But with this left side pulling back, the ball does not go as far left as it needs to, and because of that, you have a very brief amount of time in single support to get this right foot down. So unless you're like Usain Bolt or Apollo Fidek or I don't know, whoever you want, your right foot isn't going to get down the quickest, and that's why, as you can see here, you're catching almost a 270 rather than catching a little bit deeper than you were on the first turn. So, like I said, hold that left side, send the ball longer on the left, and then you'll catch a little bit deeper, and then it'll be easier to get that right hip a little bit more underneath you. If the hip is back, then you're going to catch a little bit later. It's just kind of how things go. Same thing, you catch, heel comes down, and then the right foot starts working, but a little bit too late. You want this right foot to turn with the hammer right from the start. So as soon as you catch, you want this right foot to be turning. As you can see, it doesn't do much until about 4 frames after, until the ball catches up with it. So because that right side doesn't do enough, that left side's that's what's kind of driving the throw until that right side kicks in. And by then, that left side's already pulling back. I kind of like the weight over the right side a little bit, but as you can see, that left shoulder's coming back, the left hip's coming back as the ball goes left again. And then you see another sign of the right side not doing enough, not being active enough, is this plantar flexed end of double support. You see this toe pointed down towards the ground. Ideally, you want it to be more of like an A skip, a piston driving up and down. You want this toe dorsiflexed, big toe up. And then once again, hip driving towards the ball. But that left side's pulling out of the way. So that right foot comes off plantar flexed. And then a little bit late, a little bit wild, cowboyish. You catch a little bit deeper, so you're sneaking it around in here. This is better, but same thing, try to step forwards. And then you catch on the ball of the foot. Posture still getting closer. That right hip still needs to be a little bit more forwards, maybe about half as much as it was in the previous turns that I was talking about. A little bit deeper catch. Left heel comes down. Same thing, right foot's not doing much. Left side and the right side of the body need to turn together, in my opinion. So the left heel comes down, right side isn't doing anything. So then same thing, that left shoulder and left hip are going to pull back. Right foot's starting to do more here. It's getting closer. It's less plantar flexed. But then you see you pick up pretty early because that left side is pulling back. I have the same problem and I'm always trying to fix it, but your lower body looks better here. Like, this is by far the most connected your lower body looks to the throw, but you're just so anticipatory with that left side. Got to let the ball go around the left. Hold that left, let the ball get a little bit more free. A little bit more knee drive here than the previous turns. Stepping towards the hammer a little bit more. See, now this is what I'm talking about. You see how your right hip, you really can't see it, but your hips are more underneath you. Your right hip is more forwards despite this camera angle. It's hard to tell. Catch deeper. Torso over, like I said, so left shoulder kind of behind that left hip almost. That's kind of the right idea. But you are a little bit heavy on that right side because that left side pulls. As you can see, this left foot almost comes off the ground. Oh, it does. A little bit right there. So that's a result of that left side pulling and going early. So you're a little heavy on the right, so the left comes off the ground. Yeah. And you come down. And then you see how, so now that right foot is starting to turn with the hammer. So that's a really solid right foot, right leg action. And then getting the hips through. So good finish. Very solid finish. But like I said, you just got to get that right foot, right leg going with the hammer a little bit more early on. And the more you do it early on, the easier it is to do in later turns. So, yeah, like I said, big things here. I'd say overall, Luigi, you just have to have your lower body, your left and right leg, and your hips turning with the ball. Like I said, if you have that ball splitting your legs and your right leg is behind and your left leg is ahead, then your left side is typically going to go because you're not going to catch early enough. And then if you don't catch early enough, you need to keep attention with the ball, and the only way to do that is to pull that left side. So, yeah, turn your lower body with the ball. Get that right hip underneath you on the catch like you did in the fourth turn. If you do that every turn, it'll be much more efficient. You'll feel much stronger, much more stable. And outside of that, yeah, get that right foot. Like I said, kind of use it to pressure yourself back over this left side. And use that right foot to turn and send the ball around the left and forward towards the sector. Drive that right hip towards it, step towards the ball. All little things that you can work on that'll drastically improve your throw. All right. You can see as the throw goes on, your right foot action gets better. So you just got to get that earlier on. That's all it takes. So, yeah. Let me know if you have any questions, Luigi. I am here to help. If anybody else out there would like some technical analysis, it's only $15. Go to my website. Go to the services page. Sign up. In-depth technical analysis. And start making those gains. It's off-season, preseason, whatever you want to call it. It's time to start preparing to drop some bombs in the indoor season and later on in the hammer in the outdoor season. And if you would like any programming, throws coaching, throws programming, lifting programming, both, lifestyle coaching, whatever it is, I'm here for you. Just shoot me a DM on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. Email me. Doesn't matter. Sign up. Let's start making those gains because the season's going to be here before you know it. So, all right, thanks for watching. Sean Don, peace and out.